Hamburg Altona railway station, one of the major railway stations in the German city of Hamburg, and also a terminal station. This is also the starting point for our train for today, that will be taking up to the island of Sylt, to Westerland to be exactly. This is Germany's northernmost railway station. Join us as we go through the flatlands of northern Germany to Germany's most northern island and also Germany's most northern railway station, not far away from the border with Denmark. However, before we dive into all of this, let's take a closer look on the route map for today. We are traveling with line RE6 that starts in Hamburg Altona, what is one of Hamburg's major railway stations. You will find different trains on the line RE6, but we'll be taking one of the faster trains that makes one of the least intermediate stops. The stops that are being made are not really worth mentioning, no junction stations whatsoever. Except for the railway station of Niebüll, where you do find trains on a very regional railway line though, to Denmark. And because you won't find a road to the island of Sylt, but there is a railway line, so there are car trains. For a lot of people who don't take their own car, they will park it here as well. So also at the railway station of Niebüll, you do find a big car train terminal. However, I'll get back to that a little bit later on in the video. For now, let's head to the morning when I traveled along this route. And I traveled with the S-Bahn, what is the commuter rail of Hamburg, to the railway station of Hamburg Altona, where our train departs from today. The train that we'll be taking today doesn't call at the main railway station of Hamburg, what is Hamburg Hauptbahnhof, but the S-Bahn train I took passed by at that point. The S-Bahn, so the commuter rail of Hamburg, is located in the underground section of Hamburg Altona railway station. You do find a metro in Hamburg as well, but the metro is not serving Hamburg Altona railway station. Between the ground level where you find the mainline trains and the underground section where you do find the S-Bahn commuter trains, you will find quite some shops, places where you can buy food, a supermarket. Quite some things are located at this area. It's a little bit hidden if you arrive here, well, by bus for example, but if you want to stock up some food for a railway journey, you can do that here as well, even though most real long distance trains do have a dining car on board of the train as well. Hamburg Hauptbahnhof, so the main railway station of Hamburg, is rather busy, so it's nice that you will also find some other major railway stations, where quite a lot of long distance trains do start or end their journey as well, and one of them is Hamburg Altona. What is a terminal station? Well, before we dive into the railway station, let's quickly discover the area around the railway station. There are quite some shops around here as well, looks like a kind of a town center, and you obviously find a big bus stop here as well. I mean, it's a rather important railway station, and of course you do find lots of ways to go from and to here. If you're traveling by bike, there are some spots where you can park your bike as well, but I didn't notice the true parking grass or so. At the bus stop, there's some general information about departing buses and you find some vending machines for bus tickets. For regional public transportation, you can also use the DB app or the HVV, or in German HVV app. A taxi stand is also located at the front of the station, just like some commercial areas that are also within the railway station but just at the outside. Hamburg Altona railway station is in a way quite unique, and I'll show you why in a bit. It's a functional railway station, you have a good and easy overview. I wouldn't call this a pretty railway station, but it's rather functional. And because this is a terminal railway station, the layout basically speaks for itself. At the ground level where I'm at right now, there are some information points for train tickets as well. And also around here you do find the ticket counter for DB. What makes this railway station truly unique is that you will also find car trains that can depart from and arrive at this railway station. Well, that's not really unique, but this is one of the very few railway stations that being actively still being used for this. Over here, a train was loading that was heading to Innsbruck, and this train was being operated by the railway company Urlaubsexpress. I mean, you can travel and sleep at the same time, what is perfect. I mean, this is why I like trains, and before this also sleeper trains, but if you have your own car, that's gonna be challenging. But over here you can do that. I mean, this doesn't solve the big problems on busy roads, but at least it takes some cars off the road, what is really nice. Innsbruck Hauptbahnhof, where this train is heading to, has also quite a big car train terminal. If you want to rent a car from here, at the front of the railway station there's also a car rental company, and right next to that you will find the tickets and service information point. It's quite interesting to see all the cars driving into the railway station building and go on board of the train. Basically all platforms are suitable for car trains. Anyway, let's head to the morning when I took this specific train from Hamburg to Westerland Sylt. Apart from the ticket counters, vending machines can be found at several spots within this railway station as well, and left luggage lockers are located at some spots near the entrance of the platforms. At the beginning of the platform you find clear screens about the information about departing trains, and there are even some hotels more or less integrated within the railway station. Like here on the right you will find the Intercity Hotel. Today we'll be traveling on line RE6, what is a regional train, and on our train you will not find a dining car. And even though this is a regional train, it's covering a distance that's quite intercity worthy in a lot of other countries. It's around 200 kilometers. Before we dive into the train, let's take a closer look at the exterior. Our train is being pushed or pulled by a locomotive, and at the other side of the train you do find the cab car. The class numbers have been mentioned crystal clear at the side of the train, and apart from that, the bike areas and the accessible area have been marked pretty clear as well. Along the journey I had from Hamburg to Westerland Sylt, it was kind of busy. I mean, there were still lots of seats available, but if you're trying to film, an empty train is always better, and well, for filming it was rather busy. I thought I'd just wait until the way back, because I was traveling after this from Westerland to the railway station of Niebüll, but that train was even busier. However, I could have kind of avoided this by just checking the DB app, because there you do have a business indicator, and in general this is pretty accurate. Anyway, the first class is located at a small section at, in this situation, the front of the train, but it might also be the back, depending what way the train is moving. And for the first class, you do obviously find the number 1 at the side of the doors, but an extra yellow stripe above the doors does exactly indicate where you will find the first class. This is pretty common along trains within Europe. Also, row numbers are mentioned near the entrance doors. However, seats can't be reserved as far as I know on board of these trains. I know there are some regional trains in Germany where you can make a reservation. If you know if this is also the case for this specific train, please let me know in the comments. Because the biggest part of the route that we'll be taking today will be on non-electrified railway lines, we are being pulled by a diesel engine. The engine is a truck that's being built by the train manufacturer Bombardier. Honestly, there's so many different types of the truck's locomotive, I don't know exactly what type, but I think there are a lot of train geeks who know this definitely better than me. I'm more the kind of train geek who is into train traveling because of sustainability reasons. Anyway, before we take a close look at the interior, I hope you liked this video so far, or that it's a helpful video to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate that. If you have questions, feedback, comments, or even if you just want to say hello, feel free to leave a comment. And if you like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is cross-bordering and or long distance traveling. International is the same as cross-bordering. Then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. The reason why the main focus is long distance and or international is because, especially when it comes to international traveling, there are so many ticket fares that are not well connected with each other. There's some little tricks that are not very well known. Crossing a border by train should be easier, and this is why I have this channel. But for now, let's continue with this video. And for this, let's head into this train. I will start off by showing you the first class, even though I was traveling on board of second class. And like I already briefly mentioned, the first class on board of these trains is really good. Even though if you buy individual tickets for these trains or only for this specific train, it can be rather pricey. But if you have a combined ticket with a long distance train in Germany, this can be relatively affordable and not even that much pricier compared to second class. The seating pit, so the amount of legroom in first class, is very generous. You do find sunscreens at the side, near all windows, also in second class by the way, there's a reading light, and the seats can be reclined. There used to be something like an audio entertainment system as well, as you can see over here, but this is pretty old school and it didn't work anymore nowadays. It seems like technically the train should also be able to have some reservations. And if I recline these seats, this is really good. I really like this first class product. However, the second class product on board of these trains is pretty good as well. Because I was filming on the way back where the train was even busier, I didn't do a proper seat review for the second class, but I think when I walk through the train you can have some kind of understanding. I have to say the amount of legroom in second class is also pretty okay. Most seats do come in an airline style composition, but you find some bay seats, so seats facing each other as well. For the airline style composition seats, there's a small table in the seat in front of you you can fold out. You won't find power plugs near the seats, but there are some hidden power plugs here as well. And basically every corner has been used very efficient, so people can store their luggage over there, so they don't have to block the seats. What a lot of people didn't do, by the way. I think if everybody put the luggage where it should be going, there would be way more seats available for this rather busy journey. Also, quite some people were complaining about how busy it was for this journey. But this was on a Saturday morning in, well, kind of the still high season. So you can imagine if you go from a busy holiday destination on a Saturday morning to the big city, it's busy. Therefore, once again, check the business indicator in the DB app. And this is also something I should have done. You won't find priority seats on board of these trains, but I did notice some displays that were saying like, offer your seats to those who need this. Personally, I think priority seats make more sense, and especially if you assign this very well, what is in general not really the case within Europe. Some basic information about rules and line maps are located at the vestibules of these trains. These are not the most modern trains. You won't find screens with route information, but you will find some very basic LED screens at the ceiling, mainly at the vestibule, so near the entrance doors, with some very basic route information. Also above most entrance doors, you will find line maps for the line RE6, RE60 and RE62 that covers a kind of the same area. There's also a special area for those traveling in a group, so I think for people traveling in a group there might be some kind of possibility to make a reservation. For those traveling by bike, you can take your bike as well on board of these trains. You can't make a reservation for the bike though, so take in account that first comes, first serve. So yeah, if you're just too late and there's no spots for bikes anymore, you might have to take the next train. Especially if you have a long distance train where you need to reserve for a bike after this journey, I really recommend you to try to take an earlier train. Personally, I can't really stand it if people complain about busyness while it has been marked crystal clear in the business indicator. The train that left before this specific train was way more quiet, and also if you traveled around 3 hours later, the trains were way less crowded than this specific train. Something I noticed, but maybe I didn't look good enough for this, if you know this let me know in the comments, is that all toilets are accessible toilets. Let's have a toilet review for this. And the toilets are fine, nothing really special. I like the fact that the toilets are accessible for those who need this. But as a father of a very young kid, basically a newborn, and he's on my belly at the moment I'm editing, so you might hear some baby sounds as well during the video, I would like to see a diaper changing facility as well, even though at the moment I made this journey, I wasn't a father yet. Because honestly, where do I change the diaper if I need to do this? At the total front of the train there's another area, and I think it would make a lot of sense if it will be categorized as the quiet zone. For now, I'll just show you some views from the train between Hamburg Altona and Westerland Sylt, and I'll get back to you at the very end of this video. Here, the train is arriving at the terminal station, the railway station of Westerland at the German island of Sylt. This is also Germany's most northern railway station, and also Germany's most northern island. At this spot, you will also find the terminal railway station for the car trains that started in Niebüll. In a way, I think it would also be nice to have some car trains from Hamburg. This way, you can have some more cars off the road. I can imagine that people traveling by car might have a different purpose of visiting this island. However, in my opinion, the train is just the best way to go here. But if you stay somewhere where there's no public transportation, or you have a lot of stuff with you and you're camping, for example, maybe the car might be a better way. Anyway, this here is the railway station of Westerland Sylt. I didn't do a proper railway station review over here and I forgot to do the outro, so I'll do it right now with the use of a voiceover. From here on I travel back to the railway station of Niebüll, from where on I continued my journey to Denmark, and there's a dedicated video about that as well. Related videos can be found in the description of this video, and there you also find a link to a map where you can find all videos as well, but then on a map and other related links. That's it for this video. I really hope you liked it and or this has been a helpful video to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. If you have some questions, feedback or comments, or even if you just want to say hello, feel free to leave a comment, of course. And if you like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is long distance and or international traveling, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. See you on the next one.